We've gotten to the point where we just love secluding ourselves. We work from home. We prefer to work from home. We prefer to avoid people around us. We prefer to stay by ourselves, and we try to convince everybody that they should too. Welcome to the world of individualism, where everyone's trying to convince you that they're happy being alone when in fact they aren't really. They post their videos, they do the things that they do to tell you that they're happy. And then afterwards they close their phones and they go to bed and they wonder, why do they do anything that they do? Is it for themselves? And is it even worth it at the end of the day to do everything that you want to do just for yourself? Or should you, or rather would you, share or want to share your successes with other people? I've always believed that the purpose of life is in service to others. It is in sharing with others. But we've gotten so used to just absolutely hating one another that we've convinced ourselves, we've convinced our culture that this is how it's supposed to be, that everybody should be out for themselves. And as such, we all struggle with loneliness, me included. I struggle so much with loneliness, feeling like I'm alone in the world, feeling misunderstood, feeling as though I'm going through this world and see things that don't coincide with what everyone else is seeing. And I know I'm not the only one. Surely, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Last summer, I made a video, and in that video, I was a little bit vulnerable in saying that oftentimes I see other people with friends going about, hanging around, seeming as though they have found their tribe, they have found those people. And I wanted to make this video today as not as somebody that has figured it out, because I sure as hell have not figured it out. I still have those moments of loneliness, even when surrounded by people. I have those bouts of loneliness and melancholy that seeps in. Today I wanted to make a guide because throughout my life I've tried my best to ease that loneliness by putting myself out there, by trying new things, and by feeling a little bit less alone in the world. And I wanted to make this kind of guide, as you will, or tips and tricks, things that I've learned throughout this journey that have helped me feel a little bit less alone in the world. The first one, I don't think people are going to like this, and people are going to disagree with me on this, but not working from home, having to go to an office or going to go see people, going in person for work, I think has been the biggest factor in changing my mood, my depressiveness. Everything has been changed just by making that one choice of choosing to be around people. And I know that people are going to tell you that, oh, well, no, you should work from home because like you're by yourself, you do all of this, you don't have to deal with people. But there's just something so humbling and something so wonderful about being surrounded in an environment with other people and being part of a team and being part of something bigger than yourself. And I feel like what's missing in today's world is we're so selfish, we're so self-involved, and I think because of this we separate ourselves from other people, which leads us to lacking any empathy. We have no more empathy for the people around us because we're not surrounded by those people. We don't get to learn, we don't get to see other individuals going through life. And yes, sometimes like being around people is a pain in the ass, and sometimes people are dumb, and sometimes you're dumb, and sometimes people hate you, and sometimes other people hate you or you hate them. But that's just a part of being a human being. We are meant to be surrounded by people, no matter what anybody tells you. One of the biggest things that helped me feel less lonely is by going to work in person, or finding a job in which I have to be surrounded by people has helped me tremendously in feeling less alone in the world. And I know that this is controversial. I know that a lot of people might not agree with me. I know that a lot of people are going to argue with me about this, but I genuinely feel that if you struggle with a sense of loneliness, if you really look at yourself, really look at yourself, and you think, why is it that I'm doing everything that I'm doing if I don't get to share it with people, then I urge you to make these little choices. And although it may not always help, sometimes you'll still have those bouts of loneliness even when you are around people. I find that these little changes make a really big difference in feeling like you're not so alone in the world. Because sometimes you never know. You meet somebody and you realize that that person is struggling with the same things you are. You realize that, in fact, you're not the only one in the world that's struggling. And I think that that's an important realization to make. Second thing that I find has helped me with feeling less lonely is reaching out to people. And we all have people in our lives, whether they're there or whether they're not there anymore. And one of the hardest things to do is to reach out to people. As an adult, it is so difficult to maintain those friendships because we all have shit to do. We all have shit to do. We don't have time or we don't want to. And so we lose those friendships, those communities that we fostered long ago when we were going to school or where we were going to work. And then they kind of just fade away. And we realize that we don't actually have anybody in our lives. But we do. They're just not there. And all you need to do is to just reach out to people. And it isn't just to be like, oh, hey, let's hang out, but just see how people are doing, how they are, how's life going for them. Just taking that step forward in reaching out to somebody that may used to be in your life or is not in your life anymore, or that you haven't spoken to in a long time, or that you want to keep in your life. We often tell ourselves not to do this, like not to reach out to other people because, oh, it's been too long, or, oh, like they might think I'm this way. We start to overthink all of these things. But in reaching out and taking that first step that feels so scary to do, you realize a lot of the times that people feel the same way that you do about this. Maybe they did want or expect a message or something, but having the ability to reach out is such a courageous thing to do, because as much as you want people to reach out to you, I am certain, and I've seen it, that other people want to be reached out to as well. People want people that care about them. We all do. It's part of being a human being. We want to feel less alone. We're social creatures. We have to be surrounded by people. It's mandatory. It's necessary for our sense of peace, our soul, everything. But we've gotten so used to just being like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do and fuck the rest of the people. This culture of being individualistic, this lack of community. We don't even know how to foster our friendships anymore. And taking that first step of just messaging somebody that you haven't spoken to in a long time, asking how they're doing, how their life is going, asking to go for a coffee, to catch up, just those little things, I think, are so small in the grand scheme of things, but are just so important to do to foster a sense of community and belonging when we feel alone. And sometimes that person needs that. Sometimes that person needs somebody to reach out to them to see how they're doing, because you never know what anybody's going through. And sometimes it's better to have somebody there for you, because we can't go through this life alone. We can try our best to. We could try our best to dilute ourselves with the idea that we can go through this life alone, and many of us do. If we have no choice, if we genuinely have nobody at all in our lives, sometimes it's necessary as a sense of survival. But I think that these tricks help us feel a little bit less alone in the world, and gives us a little sense of purpose in this world, in which I believe our sense of purpose, it comes from serving people, and the service of others, and the selflessness of being there for other people without expectation or anything in return. Another trick that has helped me feel less alone is to go outside. I mean, this is just an obvious one, but just go outside, when you go grab a coffee, go to the same coffee spot all the time and say hi to the person that's helping you and ask how they're doing, and just be so kind, and just not even asking any questions, just be there, have a smile, interact with another human being as much as you can. Go out, see the world, see other people, and just having that one-on-one interaction can feel so difficult sometimes. But even that one-on-one interaction, I think, is just so helpful, because you realize that you're just a peon in this world, and surrounded by other people, and everybody else has their own lives, and you have your own life too, and everybody goes through shitty things in their lives, just like you go through shitty things in your life. And just by being outside and seeing other people in the world enjoying life or whatever it is that they do, you feel a little bit less alone in the world. Let's be real. We all kind of suck as human beings. We do. We're shitty, we're selfish, we think about ourselves, we separate ourselves from other people, we have no empathy whatsoever. And I think that that's because of this lack of community that's going on right now. And I genuinely think that these little tips and tricks that I shared with you has helped me tremendously in feeling a little bit less alone in the world. And in realizing that I'm not the only person, I might only see the world through my eyes. For me, in my perspective, I am the center of the universe, just like you are the center of your universe. But in separating ourselves and being around in the world and interacting with other human beings, you realize you're not so alone in the world. Same with sharing things on YouTube. Same with everything. Same with sharing a story with somebody that you care about. Same with sharing your vulnerabilities with somebody. You realize all of this, you're not alone. And what a wonderful thing it is to share all of this with other people, even when it's hard, even when we feel lonely, because it's normal to feel lonely, especially in this world that's out to make us feel lonely. But I genuinely think that taking the little steps every day to being able to interact with others really impacts our mood and our sense of belonging in this world. And not that my tips are necessarily really revolutionary, but those are just the things that have helped me feel less alone in the world. So, thanks for watching. Bye.